IIM was set up, it was a deliberate choice not to go the path that Harvard Business School wanted us to go, which is to make it a business school. The founders, Vikram Sarabhai and Ravi Mathai, were very clear that it will be an institute of management, Indian Institute of Management, managing the whole economy and not just business.
So right from day one, the institute had what is known as the Center for Management of Agriculture. We focus on agricultural sector. We offered programs in agricultural sector. Then with the passage of time, we realized in early 70s that public management and larger issues of governance would become a major challenge. So we created what we call the Public Systems Group in 1972. And more recently, we created a Center for Management of Health Services. That is what we created in 2003. And that Center for Management of Health Services is offering programs on hospital management, is offering programs on HIV and managing AIDS, and it is offering programs for policymakers in the field of health. Even before mergers and acquisitions started really happening, we had a course on mergers and acquisitions, Even before the insurance sector reforms got really fully implemented, we had a course on that. Similarly, there are a number of fields in which, like e-governance started emerging and we had an elective course on this.
Although technologies are emerging, they are providing the connectivity solutions which have made the e-governance possible. But while the technology is there in place, what is important is to bring in the change in the government processes. Now that is a managerial challenge that requires both strong domain knowledge as well as the ability to bring in the change. Now these two things we were able to inculcate through our programs. By now we have trained about 160 Chief Information Officers for Andhra Pradesh through a long-term program which is about 11 weeks, which includes largely on developing the framework for service delivery through the information technology, taking the services closer to the citizens.
We are also looking at the issues of innovations at the grassroots levels. Look at, for instance, villages. There are a lot of knowledge which is lying in the traditional knowledge. Now, in this era of patents, this traditional knowledge also needs to be recognized.
So essentially, it was a struggle for knowledge-rich, economically poor people who can generate choices, expand options, and change the way we think about the livelihood and employment and poverty alleviation at the grassroots. There's a fellow who has used a non-sticking coating, such as Teflon, on a clay tawa. So now a poor person can also get a non-stick tawa, which so far only rich could afford, costing about 30 rupees. Mansubai Jagani, who has developed a plowing machinery which you can use with motorcycle and plow and do all the kind of operations. So you can't afford tractors and you can't keep bullocks because you don't have fodder. You have motorcycle, use it for farming. We have got patents for Indian grassroots innovators in US, in India. We have been able to commercialize technologies at least in 5 continents. Grassroots products have reached already around the world. So the new slogan is from grassroots to global.
I'm really interested in carrying on this project when I go back. I think the US has a whole different set of problems to confront for rural people, in that it's difficult to maintain a small farm and small farmers are consistently losing out on their land. So I'm interested in helping them solve their own problems, promoting things like organic agriculture. And I think I'll learn a lot of skills from what I've been doing here for how to organize farmers and work with them.
For most of us who are gaining knowledge, a theoretical side in the classroom, and also getting some experience on the practical side in the corporate world through our internships, getting a visit to the rural areas put us in touch with one part of this world which we otherwise wouldn't interact with. That would help us being more socially sensitive and culturally aware managers.
We have a professor in the institute who does pioneering research in the field of harvesting of dew and using the environment to provide cooling systems. And he has done some pioneering work in Skoch. And he tries to look for new applications of the same technique. So Skoch, it is meant for irrigation and dew harvesting. But the same thing he used for cooling with minimum cost in a natural environment.
In case of dew harvest system, of creating something which wasn't there in the country at all. I personally felt satisfied. It also turned out that the world also recognizes that.
We are also looking at the issue of managing the underprivileged and doing something for the underprivileged. Like for instance, the students of our campus offer a free tuition and schooling to the children of slum dwellers who stay around the campus, and they conduct evening classes for them.
That, I believe, sensitizes us to the issues other than the ones which we study in our classrooms, all about financials, marketing, and we come to know of a life that's outside all this stuff.
Managing an institution which is already very good is a more difficult thing than managing an institution which is just being set up and you are trying to create one. Improving upon excellence and enhancing excellence is a more difficult challenge, and I think that I have made an effort to move in that direction. I always felt that the institute had tremendous potential, and it needed some kind of a concentrated drive to make it happen. And I feel personally satisfied that I have been able to contribute to a substantial upgradation and enhancement of brand IIM-A.